Hello guys! Oh my gosh, no sound at all. Okay, hello. Oh my gosh, hello guys, hello everybody. This is again I'm a singer, Eternal Voice. Welcome to my live streaming. Okay, I'm still not finished and completed my discussion regarding the science basic formulas because I have 30 formulas and equations to be discussed to you guys. But I'll stop in number 12 to the pressure. Yes, okay. And then we have here density, mass, weight, volume, force, momentum, speed and velocity, the acceleration, okay, the specific gravity, the viscosity, the thermal conductivity, the acceleration due to gravity, the theory of relativity, wow, the flux, flux, the rate of transfer general, okay, that's it. Almost finished pala siya. Okay, now we go directly to, what's this? Viscosity, okay. So I already mentioned to you guys the definition of viscosity, right? And there are two types of viscosity. We have the absolute or the dynamic viscosity and the kinematic viscosity, okay? And then this is very useful in diffusivity values in each momentum transfer. For example, the momentum transfer diffusivity, okay, which is the kinematic viscosity. And then we have the thermal diffusivity, okay, for heat transfer, okay, and the coefficient, diffusion, okay, which is the mass diffusivity, okay. Now, we can remember also through this the numbers. We need to compute the numbers, right? The Reynolds number, the Prandtl number, the Nusselt number, the Schmidt number. By the way, class, if you're a chemical engineering student right now and who wish to take the board examination, memorize all the number like that. There's a lot. Sherwood number, okay, Reynolds number, Schmidt number, Prandtl number, Nusselt number. Okay, so that it will not take time for you to scan the handbook during the board exam because it's in your brain cells already. Okay, for example, Schmidt number, it is the momentum diffusivity over the mass diffusivity. Ganun siya. Okay, and then if the Nusselt number is equal to the momentum diffusivity over the thermal diffusivity. And each numerator and denominator has its own value man siya. So you can solve for the unit or the what is being required na siya. So that is the number. So it is mostly unitless if it is talking about number, right? Like a Reynolds number that is unitless also in the turbulent and laminar flow. Okay, like that. So going back to this viscosity. Viscosity is the behavior of the fluid that is being opposed by the resistance called viscosity. Okay, this is try to oppose, okay, the resistance to flow of the fluid. Okay, resistance, fluid, flow. If there's a flow of the fluid, then this will resist something that oppose, just like in the force concept. It will oppose the, if you push this object, for example, if you push this glass forward, and there is a fraction that will try to, to oppose. Okay? So it will not be moved continuously. Somewhere along the way, it will be slowly remove only, move only slowly. But it will just slide a little bit. Okay? Unless you will give too much energy to push that one, something like that. So there's a fraction. Fraction also is an opposing force, just like viscosity. But viscosity is applicable only for liquid and fluid. But the friction is applicable more on the solid surfaces. But the same concept and analogy will be used. Something like that. Only the applicability matters. Okay? Like that. Okay? So that is a viscosity. Okay? The fluid resistance to flow. Okay, now there are two types, right? The absolute and the dynamic viscosity and the kinematic viscosity. Okay, I discussed this already, right? Last 2 weeks ago. Okay, but this again, to refresh our minds, absolute and dynamic viscosity is an internal resistance to flow of the fluid. Internal. For example, I have this coffee. Okay, and then there's molecules of the coffee mixture. Ganun. Okay, so there is already an internal viscosity to this, even though this coffee is not yet moving, okay, or not yet in motion. So that is absolute and dynamic viscosity, inherent. Okay, just like a potential energy. Me sitting in the chair, I have the potential energy, stored energy, just like that principle behind. And then if you talk about kinematic viscosity, that is in motion already. Okay, the resistance to fluid flow. If this fluid and liquid are already moving, okay, so it's very clear. Just like a potential energy and kinetic energy concept. Okay, like that. So the only difference, guys, is the kinematic viscosity is the length squared over time. Okay, there's a formula. So we'll write, okay, then memorize ha after charot. Okay? So yun naman siya memorize ano? Length squared over time. Oh. At least if there's a viscosity question in an examination, then you can answer directly without referring to the book or any handbook. Because it will take a time. Okay, and then focus now on a little bit difficult questions because the easy questions are answered already. Ganon. Sabi ba? Okay. Okay. And this viscosity class is the one will be used in the denominator of the Reynolds number. You know Reynolds number? Reynolds number is equal to the density times the length times the velocity over the viscosity. Okay. The viscosity there is the kinematic viscosity. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the best thing to analyze that is to really execute the putting or inputting of the units if it will cancels out or not, to simplify. And if it agrees, then that will be your viscosity use. If your memory fails, or your, what do you call this one? Analysis will fail. Sometimes also will fail. Okay, especially if there are so many things to put on your brain cells prior to taking the board examination or examination aloud. Okay, something like that. Okay, now, so, okay, kinematic viscosity, let's denote that as a small letter V na nasa pako. Ganun siya. Pako talaga. Okay, ni siya. Okay, this is the kinematic viscosity. Okay, so this is equal to length over 2 over time. So the length is in terms of meter, the meter raised to the power 2 over second. Okay? Always second, the standard is always second used in the units, not the minute, the hour, the months, the years. It's not like that. But if the problem requires to convert, because it's in the choices, then convert it. Okay, what I mean only is the standard is always in seconds, especially in metric system. Okay, then this is a take note, right, as one. Okay, square meter over second. And then if you're trying to transpose or move the seconds into that numerator, it will become second negative by law of algebra. Okay, square meter, okay, S negative. So class, this is the unit of kinematic viscosity. Okay, square method as negative. Oh. So if you have the unit like this, then bingo, you can solve for the kinematic viscosity, and you can even substitute this to the value of viscosity in the denominator of Reynolds number formula. But don't be also, don't take for granted also, maybe, there's a trick there, then just put the units first, okay? And then cancel like blah, blah, so and so, okay? Okay, now, so this is kinematic viscosity, right? So kinematic viscosity class is also known as the mass diffusivity. Okay, it will be multiplied to the rate of change of the momentum with respect to horizontal possession. Grabe. Okay, this is a transport property in a transport phenomena in the flow of fluid. Okay, like that. So we have a flux. Okay. I don't have to go details of that because I already discussed last 2 weeks ago. And let's go simpler. Okay, kinematic viscosity. Charot. Okay, kinematic viscosity. Okay, like this. Sometimes problems will ask only viscosity. What is the viscosity of the fluid? Ganon. Okay. Then sometimes no given at all. Only asking directly. So meaning you will go to the handbook or textbooks. Okay, if there is a temperature and pressure. Okay. Oh my gosh, wala na akong charot. Wala na akong ink. Kasi kong ink in fairness. Talaga. Okay. Ganun siya ha. Wait for a while, class. Charot. Okay. Okay. So, it's gonna be like this. Okay. So, kinematic viscosity is equal to the absolute viscosity, which is the mu. Okay, mu. This one, guys. Mu, this one. Okay, mu is the absolute viscosity and the dynamic viscosity. So, it's the same as with the micron unit. Remember the micron unit for the wavelength of the electromagnetic wave unit. Wavelength of certain radioactivity. Alpha, beta ray, gamma ray, ganun siya. The unit usually expressed in micron. Okay? Like wavelength. Okay? Such as the X-rays, laser, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so same also here. The micron is the absolute and dynamic viscosity. But forget for a while for the topic of nuclear chemistry or nuclear transmutation. We'll focus here on the viscosity thing. Okay? Absolute viscosity or dynamic viscosity over density. Okay? Ganun siya. Okay? Ganun siya. Tingnan nyo ng mabuti. Ito na siya. Kinematic viscosity is equals to absolute viscosity over the density. Okay? Let's forget a little bit the dynamic because dynamic and absolute, as spoke earlier, is just the same. Can be used interchangeably. Okay? Do not be confused also to that. Okay. Now, if we have the units of kinematic viscosity is equals to square metered and second negative, then we have to prove the unit of the absolute viscosity. Because, let's say I forgot, and everybody forgot the units, then we have to supply units so that it will agree or whatever, chuba-chuchu. Okay? Like this. So what is the unit of absolute viscosity? So there's a lot, right? So let's try lang. Okay? For absolute viscosity. I explained because this will help a lot. Because there are things also in the problem solving through the units, we can understand really the formula. Okay, sometimes like that, okay? So, reverse. Sometimes we know the formula and later the units. And sometimes we know the units, we can determine the formula later. So, it's gonna be like that sometimes. Reverse. Okay? So, this is absolute viscosity. In here, we don't know yet the unit of absolute viscosity, right? And you have to prove. Okay? So, nagmahay ko, may pwede akong gi-memorize. Okay? Because I don't memorize the unit of this absolute viscosity. Really. Okay? So, nagmahay talaga. Okay. We have the unit of this one. Shall we say Pascal second? Okay? Pascal second. Oh my goodness. Okay? Pascal second. And then Newton. Okay? Second meter squared. Ay, ginoo ko. And then we have the kilogram meter second. Just focus on this units, okay, first, to attain the absolute viscosity. Okay? Pascal second, Newton, okay, Newton, S second over square meter and kilogram meter second. Okay, like that. And now, there's also what we call as the Stoke, S-T-O-K-E, or Stoke. One Stoke is 0.001 Pascal second. Okay, something like that, okay? So one Stoke is equal to 0.0001 Pascal second, okay? Like this. So if I will put Pascal second 0.001 Pascal second, it is also equal to 0.001 kilogram per meter second and 0.001 Newton second per square meter because all of them have the same unit value. Okay? Like that. And I just don't have to put because the ink will be, consumed faster. Charot. Okay, that is one Stoke is equal to 0.001 Pascal second. Okay, we have also one centipoise. Charot, okay? So one centipoise. So one centipoise is how many Pascal second? Okay, like that. So you have also to do that. Okay, so compute. So 0.001 Pascal second. Okay? Like this. 1 centipoise. Poise man na siya. P-O-I-S-E. The unit of viscosity, poise. Or centipoise meaning 10 to the negative 2 poise. But the pronunciation in English is pois good siya. That's why I pronounce it as centipoise. Okay? Like that. Okay. And now we have the 1 pois or poise is equals to 0.01 Pascal second. Okay, like this. Okay? So now if you see this kind of units in the problem solving, then treat that as a viscosity already, ha? But even though you still not know if it is kinematic or it's absolute, just try to substitute in the formula. Then if you agree to cancel everything, then it's okay. But if it is does not, then follow the formula of the kinematic viscosity. Okay, ganun siya. Okay, now, we can also convert that into English, ha? English, yung mga pound, force, ganun. Perfect squared second, pound mass per feet second, ganun siya. Okay? So, the rest will follow because if you have the conversion factor, then you can compute for that individually. Okay, so like this. Substitute the ano na siya, the kinematic viscosity. Okay, ganon. So, mu is equals to kinematic viscosity times density. Okay, so our viscosity, for example lang siya ha, our viscosity is 2 in here, 2 kilogram per meter second. Okay, like this, 2 kilogram per meter second. So our density also in terms in kilogram per cubic meter. It will agree our density always ha. Okay, so our density is 1,000 man good siya. So 1,000 times kilogram per cubic meter. Okay, ganon. So mu is equals to kinematic viscosity density times mo siya. Okay? Ganon. Okay. So, ano siya? So, ang answer na to kay 1,000. Okay, 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter. Okay, cancel. Okay, ganon. So, the answer will be kinematic mu. Mu man siya, di ba? Mu is equals to cancel siya, kilogram. So, meter squared per second siya. Okay? So, Newton square meter per second square. Okay, muna siya answer. Okay? That is kinematic viscosity. Okay? Like that. Okay. Let's get another paper because there's no space anymore. Nakakaloka. Okay? Nakakaloka. Oy, grabe na Jule. Okay? Diba? So, kini siya guys, asubon ako ha, para di dito maglibog, kailangan kay pinapasan, okay? Kini siya, these are all absolute viscosity. Listen na, kani akong ipangyaw-yaw diri ari. Okay, this is absolute viscosity. Okay, and then you will get the kinematic viscosity because the kinematic viscosity is the one will be multiplied to the rate of the momentum transfer. Okay? So kinematic viscosity man ang mass diffusivity. So it's not absolute diffusivity man siya. Right? So kinematic good siya. So these are all absolute viscosity. Okay, ganon. So compute na siya. So na ang atong absolute viscosity, let's say magpili ta, we should choose on these 6 items, we will choose the most common lang, okay? Na mo-agree to our density, which is 1,000 kg per cubic meter. So here is, ano man siya, kilogram per meter second. Okay siya, at substitute siya. Okay? So kinematic viscosity, okay? So, I tell you frankly guys, you should avoid because that would make you error also, especially in actual examination. Okay, it will make you an error, and then sometimes you'll be lost. So make it clean in your solution and make a little bit of spacing. Okay, because you have, it doesn't mean you have to show your solution, but you cannot get the correct answer if you don't have the correct solution. Okay, something like that. So kinematic viscosity is equals to absolute viscosity nga atong gitry, which is kilogram per cubic meter, kilogram per meter second. We choose from this units man siya. Okay? Okay. O, memorize na yun. Okay? Okay, mala siya. So, absolute viscosity is kilogram. Okay, kilogram meter per second. Okay? Mabayan niya akong weakness before because my solution is not clean. Okay? That's why. It's not clean, and sometimes I will confuse, and then I will review again. It will take time for me because my solution is not very clean. Oh, it's not clean. There's too much erasure. Like that, nagdali. Palaging nagdali. So, since we are already through and completed, so you guys that you are facing the examination, then do not follow my style. Too much erasure like this, like that, like that. So it's not good. Okay? So kilogram meter per second. And then the density is kilogram per cubic meter. Okay, guys? Okay. Okay, ganon. Kinematic viscosity is the absolute viscosity, okay, over the density. Okay. Cancel ang kilogram. Okay, cancel put ang meter. So, boost. So what will left will be square meter and second negative if we transpose like blah 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 so and so. Okay? So klaro ka siya. So that means correcta. Okay? Right? My first assumption is this one, right? Square meter and second negative. Lingon ko ninyo, di ba, at first. And then it being confirmed here. Okay? The unit of kinematic viscosity is really square meter second negative by proving it. Okay? And now, let's try English kaya. English system. So, let's choose what is the best for the English. Okay. Newton second meter squared. Okay, try. So, this is an absolute viscosity. So, Newton seconds meter squared. Oh my gosh, what's happening? What? Really? Oh, nawala. Ay, goodness. In fairness. Charot. Okay? So, Newton second meter squared. And then we pili for our density also. What is our density here will be used? It is still kilogram per cubic meter or the 62.3 pounds per cubic feet. Because you are English, right? Okay, how can we manage for this? Okay. Yeah, still, we will use the kilogram cubic meter because there's a meter on the denominator. Okay? It's gonna be like this. So, kilogram cubic meter. Okay? Like this. And then Newton is equal to kilogram meter per second squared. Okay? Like
the Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Okay? So, kilogram meter per second squared. Oh my goodness. Second over square meter over kilogram cubic meter. Cancel. Okay. And then we have the squared. Cancel also. Damdam na siya. Okay. Still the same. Square meter is negative. If you use the Newton's second square meter. So it's still correct. Okay. But we did not yet get the English. How about guys trying the Pascal? Okay, Pascal per second. So the formula or unit of Pascal is Newton meter per second. Pareho lang siya. So how can we convert this to English? Okay, English unit. Okay, oh my gosh, difficult, right? So we can create another English. Please remember that the density is pound per cubic feet. Let's enumerate one by one. So density 62.43 pounds per cubic feet. So, we make sure di ay pala that our absolute viscosity in terms of pound, feet squared, ganun siya, chuba-chuchu. So, let's try the one I memorized nga 0.2089. Wow. So, 0.2089 Laoy. Pound force feet squared second. Ako naman na siyang i-memorize. Okay? So, 0.2089 pound force feet squared second. Atong ibutang sa numerator. Let's take an example. If we get also the same value in terms of, feet na good siya. Okay? So, 0.2089. Okay, pound force per feet squared second. Okay, over density, which is 62.43 pounds per cubic feet. Okay, let's do the mathematics. Okay, cancel, cancel, cancel. Oh my gosh. So, cancel, cancel. So, what will left is the second. Okay, second, ulo. Second, oh my gosh, second, and then, yes, it will be transposed to the numerator, it will become second negative. Okay, hala. Yeah, it will not be cancelled right away, right? So it will be pound raised to the power 2. Okay, pound raised to the power 2. Okay. So pound raised to the power 2 as negative 1 is just the same with the squared meter, second negative or not? Try to think about that. Charot. Okay. Like that. I think it's not right. It's because this is mass. So this is wrong. Okay, we will use the another one, the value of absolute viscosity. It's wrong. The other one is ang hirap, 0.96717 pound mass per feet second. Grabe, memorize talaga. Okay, so this will be our absolute viscosity. Okay, let's try na kay may failed man siyang usa. Okay, so muna ito buhatan karon. Okay, so 0.9717 pound mass feet second over 62.43 pound feet, cubic feet, right? So, i-cancel na to ang cubic feet. Okay, nahabilin siya. Wala na siya nahabilin. So, to cancel the pound. Oh, correct. Ang nahabilin is, what's this? Okay, feet squared S negative. Oh, this correct. So, the same rin siya ha, ang feet squared of second negative is also a unit of kinematic viscosity. In feet lang ta or English system. We are using pala the absolute viscosity of, in terms also with feet squared is negative 1, which satisfies for the formula of kinematic viscosity is equal to the length raised to the power 2 over time. And the length here is in terms of feet, not meters anymore. This is only an example if the problem will give the units in English. For example, the water flow at 62.43 pounds per cubic feet density. What is the kinematic viscosity? Ganon. Okay? Like that. So, you will use this formula, kinematic viscosity equals absolute viscosity over the density. Okay? Then you will compute that because the density is and you can compute for the kinematic viscosity. Okay? Ganun na siya. If water lang yun siya ha. Because 60.43 and pound per cubic feet water. And this water, 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter. Water only at 4 degrees Celsius. Okay? If not water, then go to the handbook, chemistry textbooks, and refer to the different temperatures. Okay? But at 4 degrees Celsius water siya, this will be used. Okay? Like that. So, it makes it easier if the fluid running in the, system is water. Okay, like that. And now we go to the number 22, thermal conductivity. Oh my gosh. Thermal. The word thermal signifies heat. If there is a heat, there's a temperature changes or temperature differences and temperature gradient. Something like the final temperature and initial temperature. That's the word thermal all about. Okay, because heat is governed with temperatures man yun. Okay, so we have thermal conductivity. Okay, to conduct the heat in that particular substance. So that's the ability. Okay, that's the property, how reactive the substance is to the changes to the temperature. I create my own definition. Okay, Actually, this is not in the book, but I create my own. Okay, thermal conductivity is that is the ability of any substances how it will react. Okay, to certain changes in temperature. Okay, sometimes you will do like that also. If there's no clear definition in the book, you have to make your own definition to make understand what is that all about. Okay, so this is what we call not bookish. Okay, you should not refer all the time for the definition of bookish. You can create your own by understanding the the thought, and you will change that with other terms that based on your brain cells. Okay, like that. And you can rephrase the definition in your own understanding. Ganun siya. Okay? So, because if you try to be literal, it sounds so bookish. So you have to create your own definition that patterned also to the definition reflected in the books. So in that way, you really understand. Which is correct naman talaga siya because in the examination, a lot of terms will be changing there. Not only the same reflected in the book. Okay? So what's the example for that? For example, solubility. Okay? And then it's the same with concentration. Okay, and you will be confused because it's already solubility. The solubility of water is like this, 0.25 moles per liter. And moles per liter is the concentration also. Since you are used to expressing it in the molarity, and then you get lost because you think that this solubility is the topic only in the solubility product constant, KSP, in the equilibria solution. You remember that one? In chemistry, equilibria solution, KSP is equals to the concentration of the product over the K of the product and K of the reactant, ganun siya. So you will be confused also sometimes. So pareho na gid siya. Solubility and concentration. There is always a solute and a solvent in it. And then equals to solution. Solute plus solvent is equals to solution. And this solution is referring to the solubility or the concentration. Okay? So sometimes the words will be mixed up also. They will try to use another term, but it's just the same. That's why focus na lang din sa unit. Okay? Unit. Okay? For example, kilogram, moles per kilogram of water, that is molality. Okay? Kaya molarity, kung ano man siya, moles per liter solution man siya, di ba? So, tanawa na lang din ang unit to make sure. Okay? Ganon. Okay, thermal conductivity. Ang sa formula ni Sir Sotero ang thermal conductivity. This is expressed in small letter K. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of K, right? Mga constant din siya. K, for example, in a spring force law. You have the spring, right? Like that, it will release the force of the spring, and then it has also the K for that times the distance it covered with the spring pendulum will like that will move. Pendulum topic in physics. So there's also a K for that. And then we have also the K in the Hooke's law, Hookes. Okay, Hooke's law in elasticity, okay, something like that. And then K also times the distance covered, like that, pendulum, like this. And then freely hanging and go there, like this, like this. So there's a formula, but the K there is also small letter K, constant. Okay, I think it is elasticity constant. Nagbuhat ako. Okay, elasticity constant. I think so, but the term I think is not elasticity constant. I forgot. Okay, no, never mind. But that is more on Hooke's law. Hookeslaw. So I told you, memorize all the law. Okay, di ba? I'm very consistent to see so that you can easily remember. Wala, appeal mo na siya. Hooke's law. Oh, di ba? Newton's law, Fourier's law, Bernoulli law, gano'n, Pascal, Dalton, Henry, like that, Albert Einstein. Memorized, okay? Then so that it will come out in the theory, then bingo, you can answer properly. Okay? Like that. Okay. Thermal conductivity. Okay, this one. Okay. Okay. Lain po itong mga kuan class ha, it's also different that you will also memorize the mga scientists' discoveries. It's another thing also. So what I did before in taking the chemical engineering examination, I separate all the scientists. Okay? Not really that all scientists, I cannot memorize everything, right? I only write in the piece of paper. all scientists, okay, Alexander Fleming, Albert Einstein, John Dalton, Ernest Rutherford, J.J. Thomson, James Chadwick, okay, Charles Goodyear, a lot. And I define what is their discovery, okay, and the Haber process, like that. And then I memorize, okay, and I separate also the different processes, filtration, sedimentation, flotation, evaporation, condensation, sublimation, drying, leaching, flotation, screening, distillation, heat transfer, momentum transfer. I memorize also all the definitions for that. Okay, and another thing also, the law. I memorize also more of that. Newton's law of viscosity, Fourier's law of conduction, Arrhenius theory, Letarier's principle, Hooke's law, Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's law, like Dalton's law of partial pressure, Pascal's law of pressure, okay, everything about law. Okay, LAW, I memorize also. Okay? And number 4, I memorized the basic formulas. This one. Okay? I think this is not only 30. I think I have more than this prior to my board examination. I memorized also the basic formulas, everything from physics, chemistry, only basic, not the integral, not the differential, not the, the advanced engineering mathematics. And that's what I did. Okay? And then I also memorized the common in the periodic table. You know periodic table? I memorized how many elements. Okay, I forgot now because it's too long. Okay, I memorized how many elements, the total only, how many non-metals, how many metals, how many non-metal, ganun, I memorized that before. Okay, that including their characteristics, electronegativity, electron affinity, the atomic radius, how it will behave if the atomic number will increase, how it behaves when the atomic goes decrease, what will happen to the group of this particular group, the transition metals, okay, the lanthanide series, the actinide series, the inert gases, like that, the transition elements, okay, I memorize everything about that, but the common only because I cannot memorize everything in the periodic table. Okay, so group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5, group 6, group 8, group 9, until group 14. And I have also memorized also the raw. Okay, 7. There are only 7 rows in the periodic table. So it helped a lot because in the theory, in the board examination, it comes out. For example, the question would say, which of the following has a higher electron affinity? Or bingo, because I memorized already the characteristics regarding electron affinity. Which is of the following has the highest electron affinity? Or calcium, magnesium, sodium. So I can answer. Okay, just like that. I want you to do that also the same as with me. Do not focus too much on problem solving. Okay, because it's really a loss if you forgot the theories, principles, and concepts, because there's a lot also of theories. Okay, not all problem solving really. Okay, like that. So it will help a lot also to solve problem solvings if you will understand the basic concepts and basic theories. Okay, you will know also the physical properties, boiling point, freezing point, mga ganun siya. Okay, diffusion rate, okay, surface tension, specific gravity, specific heat capacity. I memorized that before. Okay, like that. Okay, but I did not memorize the values, but I memorized what it is all about so that I can understand. Okay, the definition, basic, straightforward definition. Okay, for that particular, okay, what is that, blah, 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 so and so, okay? So that's the technique. I think if you do that, there's a 90% possibility you will pass, okay? Or 80 above, you will pass the examination, whatever examination, okay? Like that. The properties also, memorize what we call the extrinsic property, the intrinsic property of the elements. Now, the chemical change, the physical change, ganon. What are those examples of chemical change? What are those examples of physical change? And then the laws, different laws, the conservation of energy, okay, ganon. And the equations to be used. For example, Bernoulli equation, Euler's equation, Navier-Stokes equation, ganon siya, okay? Newton's law equation, ganon siya, okay? Then you have to memorize, okay? And the standards also. Apart from that, the standards also, the standards in temperature, the standards in pressure, the standards in density, okay? Make sure that it cannot escape. The basic cannot escape. It should be stuck in your brain cells. So that when there is problem solving, then it's not difficult, then bingo, you can solve directly, okay? It only matters if it's feel it's difficult, it's really difficult, right? But at least the average, the easy, you can get it properly. Okay? Because I'll tell you frankly, it's not all difficult. Okay? Really, I think it's only 30% difficult. Okay? But 70% are easy to average questions. Okay, just positivism, okay, like that. Okay, so thermal conductivity, thermal conductivity is heat transfer, okay? This is the diffusivity in heat transfer, okay? Okay, what's the formula, Sir Sotero? Okay, ganun siya. So thermal conductivity is equal to the, okay, viscosity, okay, which is the mass diffusivity, right? Okay, times the density times the specific heat. Oh my goodness. Or kinematic viscosity or thermal diffusivity. Marami ko siyang pangalan, nakakaloka. Okay, equals to K over thermal conductivity, okay, over density over CP. CP din na siya cellphone ha. CP is heat capacity, specific heat capacity. CP, it's not cell phone. Okay, because we shortcut also cell phone as CP, right? So it's not cell phone, it's specific heat capacity or heat capacity. Okay, like that. Be careful also with the acronym. Okay, this one. Okay. Viscosity, kinematic viscosity is equals thermal conductivity over the density times the specific heat. Now, oh my goodness. So what is the unit for this? Okay, then you have to insert one by one also. And so I don't have time anymore because I still have so many things to discuss. Okay, just go by yourself, class. Okay, go to your mini library. Okay, just create your own mini library so that you can study that there also in your home. Okay, and pile all your books there, your notes like that. Okay, I have like that also in my room. Okay, all the books arranged properly. This is, or for example, these are all physical and chemical principles books, mathematics book, general engineering books and notes. So segregate it properly, and by the time you will review, you feel like this, I'm gonna review this one, and you will choose that in your cabinet, something like that. Okay, that's what I did before. Okay, and then you should collect also the past exams. Okay, past exams already, okay? And then you will compile that in one book binder and then study it also. Okay, past examinations. Okay, study it also. Okay, and then buy also a book that is based on the, sabi nila 50,000 questionnaires, okay? Or more that has been repeated, and then the PRC will just choose what questions will be they try to come out in the examination, something like that. Okay, so it's in there that I answered the general engineering. Okay, because some of the questions there are really patterned to that book. Okay, when I took up the chemical engineering board examination in the general engineering, some of the questions are their pattern in the book I studied. Okay, really. Okay, so that is how many 50,000 questions, and then you have to practice that. You cannot, of course, you cannot finish everything. Okay, just go the most important one because it's too many, right? 50,000 solved questions. Of course, you try to solve lang ng mga ano siya, easy to understand. Okay, it's in there that I understand the momentum, like that, very easy to understand. Okay, like that. Okay. So, okay, never mind the unit, but if you go along the way, get a sheet of paper and then have it on yourself. What is the unit for this? Thermal diffusivity. Okay, or we can write that as an alpha ha. Alpha. Dili mo siya kopyahon ang kinematic, alpha lang siya. Okay, but this is also thermal diffusivity. Okay, but all of them are diffusivity man jud siya. Okay, sa transport phenomena. So this alpha lang siya, okay, to give difference in the kinematic viscosity or the momentum diffusivity. Alpha, sige na, muna na itong kuan, thermal diffusivity. Okay, very clear? Okay, now we go to the acceleration due to gravity. Oh my gosh! Acceleration due to gravity is, okay, memorize na gid ni siya ha, 9.81 meter per second squared and 32.2, okay, feet per meter squared. Feet feet per second squared. Ganun siya, okay? Acceleration na good siya, okay? The rate of change of the velocity or the rate of change of the speed is the acceleration. But in here, this is gravity man siya. So downward motion, gravitational pull, force towards the Earth's surface, good siya. So directly downward, okay? So acceleration due to gravity. Duhara gud na siya, memorize that stock that in your brain cells also. And we have theory of relativity. Theory of relativity is not well explained too much when I was in college, okay? But I found my best. I really researched that by myself, okay? And then I found this equation also, okay? Because our instructors really and our professor is just only a guide in order for us to learn. They are not really the one who feed us everything. Remember that, put that in your brain cells, that our instructors and professors or anybody else is just teaching us the formal topics to reach the target and the most important topics, okay? Or major topics to be discussed. But they will never go to the other details which cannot be accommodated already in that particular topic. So extend your time to research for another topic that belong also to the topic. Okay, like for example, this theory of relativity is not explained properly in in studying in education and whatever. Okay, so this is theory of relativity is also an energy. Is equals to mc squared. Okay, wherein m is the mass of an object and c is the speed of light through a vacuum. So we have a value of the speed of light, which is 3 times 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. Okay, because sometimes also the question will say, what is the speed of light of the vacuum? A, 2 times 10, B, 3 times 10. So you cannot answer that properly because mabuang na lang kag-inukad sa handbook. That's very difficult to find there. Because sometimes it will not be reflected already because it's very basic. So memorize. 3 times 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. That is the speed of light. Okay, and now you know that the light has speed. Okay, so the speed of light. So E is also mc squared. Okay, E is the capital E is the energy. Now, so I'll discuss a while ago, there's a lot of formulas of energy, right? Equal to work. Then equate that there. Okay, assuming that the quantities are meeting with each other, then bingo, you can solve for another formula for that. Okay. Because there's E is equals to mc squared and E also is equal to force times this. Equate the two, okay, and then cancels, and what will remain? You can get another formula through this theory of relativity discovered by Albert Einstein. Okay, number 25, flux. Okay, number 25, flux. Ganun siya. You have to do your initiative. Don't depend on the topics that are ganun lang siya. You extend more. Okay? So, flux. Very broad kasi eh. Okay? So, flux. What is really a flux? Oh my gosh. F-L-U-X. Okay, flux is the rate of transfer over the area. Okay, there's a movement, guys. Okay? So, I am here, sitting in my chair. I don't have the flux because I don't move. Charot. I'm steady. I have only the stored energy raised to potential energy. Unless I will stand now and drink my coffee, and then I have the rate of transfer. Ganon. Because I have a distance covered from here going to my kitchen. Okay? So these are distance covered, and there's a force also. Then bingo, there is a rate of transfer, and I can compute for the flux. Could either be a momentum flux, heat flux, and the mass flux. Okay, rate of transfer over area. So, area. My area is here. Then I can compute length times width. Ganun siya. The length and width of my room. Oh, I have to get the tape measure. Oh, tape measure, come with me and I will measure this here from there in the walling of my room. So, that's my area. Okay, kaya ana man siya. Flux equals the rate of transfer over area man siya. Okay, and the rate of transfer can be computed na siya so in terms of temperature. Baron, okay, then if I have the coffee and then initial temperature of the coffee, the final temperature of the coffee, bugnaw na akong coffee. Subtract din ito mo ang temperature over the area, so heat flux na siya. Okay, so it could be applied also in the actual situation. Okay, these theories and concepts can be applied now. Okay? So, flux is equals to rate of transfer over area. Ganon siya. I-relate din mo siya in the actual situation so that we can easily understand what that's principle all about and what that's concept all about. Okay, so again, flux, Flux is equal to the rate of transfer over the area. The flux could either be heat flux, mass flux, and momentum flux. Okay, and then substitute the quantity and bingo. You can solve for the terms being required. Okay, number 26. Oh my gosh. Rate of transfer general. Asa man to eh? Nakalimot ko. Charot! So rate of transfer general. So this is what we call molecular transport. Okay? Like this. The formula is like this. Okay? Omega. Nakakaloka. Omega na talaga. Omega is equal to charot ay. Okay, is equal to the absolute viscosity. Okay, the absolute viscosity. Okay, which is the mu ha. Hindi siya the kinematic po. The mu lang po siya. Okay, mu is equals to the delta change in the rate of transfer. Could either be momentum, heat, and mass. Okay, so I'll just put this as a symbol lang ha. Any kind of transfer lang din siya. Okay, general ba yan? Okay, ganon. So, ganon lang. Rag R na liko-liko. Okay, and ganon. Over dx. R na liko-liko ba na kanang gamay? Ana gani siya. O, ana lang siya. Isa man ni siya. Kaloka. Okay? Representation lang kay general man formula, general man siya, hindi siya specific. For the purpose of discussion lang so that we can understand na yung ano ba na siya. Okay. So, ganon. Omega, okay, omega is equals to the mu absolute viscosity times the delta change of the rate of transfer could either be momentum, heat, and mass over the with respect to its horizontal axis, dx. dx is the horizontal axis or horizontal position of the transfer. Okay? Like that. So most of the transfer pala is horizontal position. Okay, not on the vertical. But it's just only an explanation, ha? Not really that will hold true all throughout. It's just an example. Horizontal position. Only giving you an idea it's gonna be like that. Okay? So this is the rate of transfer general or the molecular transport. Number 27, tapos na sa pressure. Okay? Number 28, fraction. Okay? Fraction is the opposing force to the applied force. Okay, opposing siya, so meaning it will resist. Okay, if we have the input force, and we have the action force, we have also the separate one, the reaction force. So meaning to say, the fraction force is really an example of a reaction force because it will oppose to the input force. Okay, this input force will help us to have an action force. Okay, after action force has been there, the reaction force will try to resist this action force. Okay, so like that. So the key terms here is action force, input force, reaction force, friction force, okay, net force, like that, or resultant force. So now study na, okay, memorize, go to the books and get the definition of each. What is an input force? What is a reaction force? What is an action force? What is a resultant force? What is the friction force? And memorize the basic straightforward definition and then memorize also the basic formula so that you can understand. Because I'm pretty sure also it will come out of the examination. I remember one problem for that. They state the coefficient of friction and then you solve for the friction force, something like that, okay? And there's an angle, okay? I remember it's still in my brain, though it was 25 years ago, blah, 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 but I could still remember. There's a question like that, you push the object, and then blah, 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 and there's an angle of inclination, ganon. And then what is the coefficient of fraction? Ganon siya nga question. Okay, so be careful. So from now on, okay, get a piece of paper and write down what's the definition of resultant force, reaction force, action force, input force, okay? Like that. And the friction force. Go to the basic definition so that you will understand and then memorize the very simple formula only. Okay? Do not go to the details. It doesn't matter at all, okay? Go to the basic formula, okay? Because there's a lot of forces, okay? So there's a lot of forces. Do not limit yourself for the shear force, tensile force. There's still another like that, right? The stresses, force stresses, stress. Okay? The shear stresses, the tensile force, the tension force. That's another thing also. Okay? Plus these forces also. Input force, action force, reaction force, resultant force, friction force. Memorize everything about forces, then bingo. You can answer the theory in the examination about forces. Because normally they will not present that in a complicated way. They will just present that in a basic problem. Two sentence, three sentence, like that. And use the work is equals to force times the distance times the cosine theta. Charot. Okay, because there's an angle of inclination. Okay, remember that always if there's an angle of inclination, mo siya gamiton guys ng mga theta. Okay? So cosine theta siya. Okay? So it will just vary also. You use the sine theta kung height upward siya. Ganun lang siya. Okay? So review a little bit with the trigonometry. Okay? Especially if there's a perpendicular angle of inclination like that during the pushing of that object. Okay? Then apply din sa mga formula. Friction force is equal to coefficient fraction to the input force. Ganun siya. So we can solve for the coefficient of fraction and then bingo. O ganon. Okay, that's the friction ha. Okay? So it will resist the force from moving. Okay? Number 30, shear stress. Nakakaloka. Okay, shear stress is just the same as the momentum flux. And it's just also the same as pressure, makabuang, di ba? Okay, because what we learn, pressure is not a shear, but it's the same because of the unit. Shear stress is equals to shear force over the area, manggod siya. So that's also pressure, right? Pressure is equals to force over area. So sometimes also the problem will be presented in that way. Calculate the pressure if the shear force is this. And then you only memorize the word force in your study. And then if they add shear, it will confuse you already. Okay, just like that also. And then if we say the pressure of this one, blah blah blah, like this, what is the shear stress? And then you don't know that the shear stress is also the pressure. Okay, so you will never use that formula because you always look for the same word all the time. Okay, so shear stress and pressure is just the same. Okay, put that in your brain cells. Okay, so shear stress equals to shear force over area. The word shear only is being added. Okay, that's why the unit of shear stress is also in terms of Newton per square meter or Pascal. Okay, Newton per square meter or Pascal. Okay, something like that. Okay, so that's for the shear stress. Applied in momentum flux. So if the question also in the examination will say that, which of the following has the same meaning, which of the following is the same as heat flux? Ganon. So maglibog na ka. A, shear stress. B, ganon. And so many things will be there in the choices. Okay, then, oh my God, heat flux. What's the heat flux all about? Okay, so D, none of the above. The answer also will be none of the above. Because the heat flux also is only a heat flux. Okay, there's no other term for the heat flux. It's only a heat flux, really. Okay, but if the question will say, what is the other term for momentum flux? Ganun. It's the time to do this. A, friction. B, viscosity. C, shear stress. The answer will be shear stress. Okay? Just like that, theory and principles will come out in the examination. Okay? Okay. Like that. Apart from the elements, metals, like that, for example, what is the most abundant element in the universe? Mga ganon. Okay? Universe talaga, unsa man. So, you have to think also. Okay, and then which of the following is the most abundant organic compound in the planet Earth? Okay, compound naman siya, so it's cellulose. Okay, but kung walang siya, element lang siya, that's oxygen, the most abundant in the element in the planet Earth, oxygen. But for the compound, that is cellulose. Okay, take note also. The most abundant organic compound in the planet Earth is the cellulose. The most abundant element in the planet Earth is the oxygen. Okay, another example. What is the lightest element in the universe? Okay, there's a choices A, krypton, B, xenon, like that, B, argon, D, hydrogen. Hydrogen is the lightest because it is in the number one atomic number in the periodic table. Only one is the atomic weight of hydrogen. Okay? Talagang number one siya doon. Okay? So the lightest siya. Okay? So the mga question ng mga ganon-ganon ha, take note also. Okay. And now we go to the Ohm's law. Okay. The Ohm's law is very simple. Not very simple. Okay, it's okay. It's also difficult, especially if you are given a path. The path that makes it difficult, right? If you connect the path, path 1, path 2, path 3, path 4. I will get confused easily because I'm not taking up also electrical engineering, okay? I'm get confused most of the times. Okay, but we are just only in the basic, right? Okay, so VIR lang yun siya per me. Okay, voltage is equals to current times the resistance lang yun siya. And then you will memorize also the components for this. Okay, what is the meaning of voltage? What is the meaning of current? What is the meaning of resistance? What is the meaning of inductance? What is the meaning of capacitance? Okay, go for it. Okay, like that, and also the fuses, the circuit breakers, mga ganon-ganon. The ground fault circuit interrupter, GFCI, okay? And then the earth current leakage, the ELCB, okay? What's the purpose for that? What's the purpose of the fuse, FUSE? Okay, what's the purpose of the circuit breaker? What is the purpose of the transformer? Okay, what is the purpose of blah blah blah, so and so. Okay, study it carefully. Okay, sa mga common lang dito makakonsentrate ha. Okay, then study also the Kirchhoff's law. If we have the Ohm's law, you have also the Kirchhoff's law. One method of finding the, current, resistance, and then ganon siya. Okay, so go for it and memorize everything and understand regarding Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's law about electricity also. That's number 30. Wala na ba siya? I think so, wala na siya. Okay, nahurot good na to, okay? There are at least 30 plus basic formulas. Napaday mga, there are still other na mga surface tension, okay? And then oh my gosh, there's still pala a lot pala mga, the unit of the light, the unit of the luminous intensity. Oh my gosh, nakakaloka yung mayroong mga mga lux, LUX. Diba? Unit of the light, yung lux, LUX. How it is very light, so many light, like this, it's bright. The measurement is the lux, LUX, and for the noise is the decibels. Okay, study that also. Okay, so usually can be explained also in OSH. The noise, the vibration, the light, okay, something like that. Okay, it's connected with science also, right? Okay, that's why I love OSH. Oh my gosh, because it's connected really. Okay? So, 30 lang yun siya. Okay? So, muna siya mga basic equations and formulas. Okay? So, if the question will say, which is lighter, the helium or the air? So, you will think lighter man siya. So, it has to do something with the density. Okay? So, why does the balloon goes up? Oh, you can explain that through also density. Because the density of the helium, compared to the density of the air. Mga ganon siya. Okay, why it will float upside. Okay, and then it will ask, what is the gas found inside the balloon? Only like that. A, helium, krypton, xenon, argon. So the answer will be helium. Okay, the same as in the alpha ray emission. What is the element responsible in the alpha radiation? Okay, A, helium. Helium also, it is 4,2He. So helium also is the answer for that. Okay, mga ganun siya nga mga bagay-bagay. Okay, what is the major component of a soil? Is OIAL. Okay, there's a lot of choices there. Ganun. So, the answer will be silicon. Okay, silicon oxide or silicon. Okay, the most abundant component of a soil in the Earth's crust. It's not calcium carbonate. Okay, because others will be tempted to answer calcium carbonate because they will dig the calcium carbonate in making cement. Okay, but it's not calcium carbonate. It is SiO2, silicon. Okay, something like that. Theory and principle questions. Okay, blah blah blah, so and so. Okay, and a lot more. Okay, who discovered laser, light amplification, simulation, emission, radiation, who discovered gamma ray or X-ray, mga ganun siya. The vulcanization of rubber, who discovered, it's Charles Goodyear, mga ganun siya, okay? So, go for that, okay? Ilista na yun siya sa mga notebook. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all about scientists. Oh, one notebook, scientists. One notebook, physical and chemical processes. Okay. One notebook, constants, all constant. One notebook, formulas, like this, basic formulas. Okay? So, in that way, your study is very thorough and proper. Right? So you will aim to become a top na chairman gid siya. So that is what you are targeting to. Okay? So if you're aiming to become a top notcher, then you will be passing. Okay? Because if you aim to pass, you will be failing. So aim high. Okay? Something like that. Okay? That's my advice for you guys. Okay? So that is for science basic formulas. Okay? Like this. What else?
The Bluetooth device is connected
I
successfully.
think I mentioned everything, right? Parang mga basic talaga na ano ko na lahat. Charot! Okay? So just tell me what are the topics that I've never discussed about basic information. Boiling point, mga ganun, madali lang kasi yan. Okay? Boiling point, freezing point, melting point. Okay? Like that. Okay? So just memorize also, ha? Okay? What is a boiling point? Ganon. When the vapor pressure of the liquid is equal to the pressure of the liquid of the surrounding. Oh, that's boiling point. Okay, so like this, blah, 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 so and so. What is the freezing point of water? Oh, ganun na siya kasimple yung mga question. Okay, the answer will be 0 degrees Celsius. Mga ganun siya. Okay? Okay, and then what is the freezing point constant? Oh, ganon, di ba? So freezing point constant is 1.86 in the colligative property. Hala. So, dapat nakastick pa siya sa brain cells, no? 1.56. Grabe naman ang 1.56. Uy. Okay. So, normally, makalimtan ba na nato? Okay, but of course, if you forgot that, go na lang sa textbooks or sa handbook. Okay. What I mean is, madali na dyan i-substitute dito good sa boiling point elevation. If you have freezing point elevation, kay gamit man kaya ang kuan dito ang freezing point constant. Okay? Na 1.86. Negative siya, I think so. Oh, negative 1.86. Ganon. Okay? And a lot more pala siya, no? Okay? So that's it. If you like this live stream, then you can comment down below in the comment section. If you want to share this live stream, then you can share over to everybody else for a little bit of information, especially to those people or students that will be able to take examinations, whatever type of examinations regarding science. And of course, if you want to click the notification bell, just go on. And then you will enjoy regarding academic information delivered by Engineer Sotero, Nepomuceno Jr. Okay, something like blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then you want to subscribe, then you can subscribe also, much better. If you don't want, it's okay also. Okay, so it's up to you guys. You have the full freedom to do what you want. Okay, then I'm very, very grateful if you watch my videos. That's it. Thank you so much. God bless. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.